Good evening. This is Shannon Kringen, Goddess Kring. I was just watching myself on video from 1996. It is now 2025, so that is a huge span of years. It occurs to me that my life sort of already is a documentary, but I still do want to attempt to make an actual documentary film. I want to figure out what kind of story I want to weave together. I have most of my episodes. I was on public access Seattle TV for 15 years. Every week, I did a 28-minute show called Goddess Kring, and I produced it in my apartment by myself. And um, I'm watching a bunch of old clips, and I'm finding like little 1 minute segments. And I'm thinking about going to San Diego, actually, where I was born and where I grew up, and filming a video, a music video. We have one coming out. Actually, we did a music video for our song Monkey Wrench and for the story of Goddess Kring and for UFO Camera. And the next song we're going to do a song for, well, right now, Dumpster Diving Boots is being edited right now. I'm working with a videographer who wanted to work on projects, and I'm really grateful for that opportunity. And I was talking to another person that's an editor, but that's up in the air right now. But okay, I'm an only child. I'm a little bit wild. I'm a left-handed, green-eyed Nordic goddess. I promise I will make you smile. I got the Kringenstein style, melancholy, frolicking, jolly. Fuzz out the knocker, unplug the locker, let's rock. Only child polarized, back and forth eyes opposing yin and yang. Type the stereo mud crutch. Type the stereo mud crutch. Norm to conform would rather Harry O. Love munch. Down at the ranch salad's castle, letting go of hassle, razzle, dazzle, and razzled, ragged lands worn through Levi's, patched up, dropping all the rot. In the parked lot of Jimmy Rig stiff goods. In the parked lot of Jimmy Rig stiff goods. I'm an only child. I'm a little bit wild. I'm a left-handed, green-eyed Nordic goddess. I promise I would make you smile. So those are the some of the lyrics to the poem I wrote called Only Child. And then it goes on to reference parts of San Diego. Let's see, that part is, so if I fly to San Diego, because I have some frequent flyer miles that I could use, so I could get there for free or super cheap. Maybe I could find a friend to stay with in San Diego or find stay in a youth hostel or find an Airbnb or something. But see, Balboa parked, carbon marked, El Indio out of the blue. So I could go to Balboa Park. I could go to El Indio in Old Town San Diego. Um, Lions Cry, Torrey Pines. So I could go to Torrey Pines. I could go to Mission Beach and Mission Beach and Fashion Valley, because I say Mission Valley and La Jolla. I can go to La Jolla, where my dad taught tennis. I can go to the Rocket Ship Park. It's this park that my dad and I used to play at that we called the Rocket Ship Park, and I'll find it. I think it's changed, but I'll find it. Um, let's see. Huh. Actually, I don't think all the lyrics are here. Oh, Giant Sad Castle, Old Globe Bay. Okay, there we go. So Giant Sand Castle, Old. Okay, so the Old Globe Theater and Balboa Park and yeah. So Tecolote Canyon. I'm Shannon from Tecolote Canyon, and I be planning shenanigans, imaginings. Oh, I don't think I wrote all of this. I'm Shannon from Tecolote Canyon. Oh my gosh, I didn't write that on here. Some of the lyrics are missing on here, but I want to maybe go to San Diego and film a video for Only Child, and as well as interview myself or have somebody interview me about my childhood in San Diego. I even thought about if I wanted to tell a more linear story, finding a child actor that would play me because I don't have any videos. I love the documentary that Val Kilmer made about his life before he passed away, May you rest in peace, Val Kilmer. And there's actual video of him as a kid with his brothers acting and doing skits. And I used to act and do skits with my friends when I was 11. I do have a recording from when I was age 12. Actually, I do. I have an audio recording of me age 12 doing silly, goofy skits into a tape recorder that I shared with my dad because I was missing my dad because when I was 9, my mom decided we would leave San Diego and get away from the family, which I did not want to do, but my mom wanted, to start a new life and on Whidbey Island. And so I was thinking of doing a story about that aspects of my childhood, or maybe finding a child actor that had like the curly hair that I have naturally curly hair. So as a little kid, I kind of had short, like Shirley Temple-y kind of hair when I was like 3, 4, 5, 6 years old. Then it started getting longer, but um, just ideas. So I just wanted to do a quick catch up with you. It's July 10th, 2025, and I was just watching a video of myself as a 28-year-old in 1996. That was interesting. So I might go through a whole bunch of my episodes that my friend and I digitized and find 1 minute or 30-second clips and compile them into a file, see if I can string them together and form a story. I'm also sharing those on social media. The short little clips I'm finding, little nuggets, little gold Kring nuggets. um, and just remember to enjoy the process because what's the destination I'm trying to get to? I feel like sometimes in life, I think, God, maybe I don't need to be doing anything. My whole life is already a documentary. Maybe I don't need to make a documentary. And then I think, well, I kind of enjoy being improvisational and making my art. Tom Petty Wides My Jetty. There's Tom Petty to remind me that. This is my t-shirt with my art printed on it. Um, I like to do lots of different artistic things, and I think I will just continue exploring, but knowing that the destination, the cliche saying, but it's true, the journey is the destination. The older I get, the more I realize that enjoying what I'm doing is more important than the goal and the end result. Like I always say that I want to be famous, and I still kind of want to be famous, but it sounds silly to say that out loud. It sounds very shallow. I think that all I mean by that is I've always wanted to connect with an audience. I've always wanted to communicate with an audience, create something artistic or philosophical or helpful or insightful and share it with an audience or share it with a community of people that enjoy whatever it is I have to offer. And yet I always seem to get distracted with being self-conscious in a certain way. So I'm doing a combination of trying to have fun and enjoy myself and learn and grow and heal and inspire myself and inspire others. So I still am grappling with the questions of why am I doing this? Why do I feel compelled to record my voice like this? I have a hard time. Well, my friends who are close to me know the real me, and the real part of the real me is this monologue process that I go through. But I think that sometimes I open up in front of the camera in a way that's different than when I talk with people in my regular life. So perhaps I'm experimenting with different kinds of communication, but I guess I've done that since 1996 when I started my public access TV show. I did it every week for 15 years. And I've been writing in a diary in a journal since I was about 13 years old. Ever since I read the Diary of Anne Frank, I was inspired to write in a diary. And I think learning about Helen Keller really inspired me as well. Like, how they thought Helen Keller wasn't very bright because she was blind and deaf, and because was it Annie Sullivan? Is that the name of that person? Because of that person, they discovered that Helen Keller was very intelligent and had a lot to communicate with other people once she learned how to do that with the help of Annie Sullivan. So I feel like there's parts of me that really want to come out and open up to other people. So I guess I just like to do improv, so that's what I'm doing. So I've taken acting classes and I did a stand-up comedy class and I did my public access TV show for 15 years. Um, Today I modeled for a teen art class in a bathing suit for 6 hours, and that was an interesting job. I hadn't done one of those all-day workshops in a long time. Modeled for some talented teenagers, and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for all of my creative jobs, and I have some side hustles and some random things that I do, but I'm just thinking about my public access TV show, Goddess Kring, and making music videos of my original poems that Dave Flowers and I are turning into music. So I'm just thinking, okay, so when I say I want to be famous, what I mean is I want to create and communicate and connect with a community of people. So it's a desire to connect. It's a desire to not hide. It's a desire, even though part of me is shy and introverted and sensitive and apparently on the autism spectrum, but I don't know if I buy into those labels. But I did get assessed officially by a psychologically trained person, official, whatever you call that, and for several weeks or several sessions over the course of like a month or something, I went there like twice a week for, 2 hours each time. So it was like it was like, 10 or 12 hours of assessments and her interviewing me and her um, having me write things down and take quizzes and answer questions. And it was a very interesting process, actually. And she said that I do show up on the autism spectrum and that I have a poor working memory and I forgot what else she said, but there's things about me that are chaotic and disorganized. And then there's part of me that's really rigid. And there's part of me so I don't know if I buy into all of these labels though, but neurodivergence, definitely. I think I'm a bit neurodivergent and I have like special interests and things that I fixate on. And then other things, I do not know how to retain certain information. I don't remember, like I took classes to finish my BA degree at Antioch University, and I took some classes that were fascinating, but I don't remember anything I learned in them because I tend to not memorize. Like I soak it up like a sponge and then I don't retain it. Unless I'm really interested in it, I don't retain it. So things to do with art and music and travel and animals and poetry, I tend to remember. Things to do with scientific facts about trees. Like I took a class about trees and I was fascinated. I was like, wow. And I thought for sure I'd remember all that. I don't remember any of it. But when I learned it, I was fascinated. I love trees. I love nature. I love plants and animals and trees. So that's just one example. So maybe I'm on the autism spectrum. So I don't know if I need to do a documentary, but I still want to I want to do a documentary. I want to see what kind of story can I tell about my life, but that would be interesting for the public. So I'm still grappling with that because I don't want to make some documentary that is not interesting to other people. So I think about classic stories like The Wizard of Oz. And if you watch the Val Kilmer documentary, you'll see that there's like a story, like he's the main character because it's kind of about his life as an actor uh, a man who was married and had two kids and then divorced and then got throat cancer and then passed away. So it's kind of about his life in that way, but it's like the character arc, he goes on a journey. So what would be the journey that I would go on? The goddess Kring, the Shannon Kringen goddess Kring, only child left-handed earth monkey Scorpio from San Diego, who, when she's 9, her parents divorced when she was 4, and then when she's 9, she's ripped away from San Diego up to Whidbey Island. And then she hears Tom Petty on a jukebox. Don't have to live like a refugee. It changed her life. He became her service musician. Quite frankly. I mean, little did I know when I heard Refugee when I was 11 that I would basically fall in love with every album they ever did, and they would continue to make album after album. I mean, it's the only band. Tom Petty and Tori Amos are the two main musicians, really the only musicians that I know every record. And I don't know every Tori Amos lyric, but I know most of her records and I know each track. Like I listen to all the tracks on her records. When I listen to one of her records, I listen all the way through to every song. Same with Tom Petty. And with Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers and with Tom Petty solo and with Traveling Wilburys, I tend to listen to every single song. And I especially like the deep cuts. I don't like that phrase deep cut, but I prefer the non-hit Tom Petty songs to the hit Tom. One of my favorite Tom Petty songs is Luna. So I might explore in the documentary my autism, my special interest being Tom Petty music, uh, and how that helps me. It's like an inner landscape. And then I have a painting called Mapping Internal Lands. So I have poems and paintings and synesthesia. When I hear music, I see shapes. And so my poems and my music, see, people accuse me actually of being off topic. My autism shows up in a way that I come off to some people as a narcissist or just kind of, self-absorbed in a certain way, or I repeat myself. I have a fixation in a certain way, and I feel kind of misunderstood, and I feel kind of, so maybe the movie can address some of my neurodivergence and how it shows up as like I connect the dots. People say I'm off topic, but to me, synesthesia relates to my abstract non-representational paintings, which relate to my poetry. Like I say, mapping internal lands, and I say, catch the windsong spiral drive, and then I draw shapes that mean catch the windsong spiral drive, meaning tap into the consciousness of the universe, tap into the energy of the universe. So there's a spiritual philosophy that I have, and my art and the shapes I see when I hear music, and my poetry, my visual art, my poetry, and the shapes I see when I hear music all connect to me. And maybe the movie could explore some of that. The documentary could be a story about the life of Shannon Kringen, a unique individual human that's neurodivergent and found her niche. And so maybe it could be kind of like a little bit like Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. Like she thinks she needs the Wizard of Oz. She thinks she needs the Tin Man and the Lion and the Scarecrow, but all she really needs is her own internal power. There's no place like home, click your heels, and all of that. So it's kind of like a story of Shannon Kringen was looking for external validation or looking for a response from the audience or looking for self-awareness in the mirror of the camera lens. And maybe what she ended up with is back to square one, back to do what you love, and that's all that matters. Love yourself, and if you can love yourself, you can love others, and if you can love others, hopefully you can love yourself. But I think it does start from within, because if I'm accepting of myself, then when somebody else is a jerk, I can handle it better. I can either get away from them or forgive them or have compassion or empathy for whatever is making them be a jerk. So self-awareness. I've always been interested in self-awareness and creative expression and communicating and communication. So connection, creative expression, communication. I've driven by all of these things. And when I was a little kid, I've taken some acting classes, but literally when I was a little kid, I was too shy, but I kind of wanted somebody to follow me around with a camera and film me like on my big wheel. And, when my grandpa would take me to the zoo in San Diego on Tuesdays, he was a piano tuner and his day off was Tuesday. And I wanted there to be a sign on our car that said, I'm Shannon Kringen and I'm going to the zoo with my grandpa. And he's not my real grandpa, he's my step grandpa named Russ. And my favorite animal is the seal. And for some reason, not that that's fascinating information, because that's just basic information, But as a little kid, I had this urge to broadcast. And my friend in Norway said that kringkasting means broadcasting in Norwegian. So kring and kringen and kring mean like spirals, circles, ringlets, like my curly hair. So kringen means, spirals and circles, and kringkasting means broadcasting. So I feel like I'm supposed to be doing what I'm doing right now. Like I feel compelled. Like I wish that I was a professional actress for real, or a comedian, or a singer, or a dancer, or but it seems like what I'm doing is I write in a journal and I do monologues and I document. So maybe part of my art is that I document, but I also do actual art, actual photos, actual poems, actual music, actual paintings. And yet I'm driven to communicate through these videos. So this just helps me. Maybe this is like my video diary. I mean, this kind of is my video diary. So, and I want to write a memoir book called Checkerboard Childhood. And our new album is called, of music, is called Amplified Chameleon. And I did the Kringflower poetry, wait, no, I did Kringonian Pizzazz poetry book. And my second poetry book is going to be called Kringflower Song Lyrics. And our albums are called Kringflower and Amplified Chameleon. And my show was Goddess Kring on public access. And then I have a poetry book, Kringonian Pizzazz, and I have an art book called Art, Identity, and the Sacred that I self-published. So I'm going to continue self-publishing and figuring out if I could make a documentary. And then I was thinking I need a team of people to help me make this documentary. But wouldn't it be classic? Dave Flowers is going to score and do the music for it. He's a great musician that, I'm working with, and he's going to help me score the movie. But maybe it is important for the Goddess Kring documentary to be made by the Goddess Kring. Like, because I did my public access TV show by myself, and as a little kid in San Diego, I was mostly alone in my bedroom, having an imaginary audience, and pretending like I had a microphone, and and I did a show. And even though I was kind of shy socially, I kind of secretly wanted to do that. Then I found out about public access, and then I could actually do that. So maybe doing my own documentary mostly by myself, that would be the perfect quintessential Goddess Kring documentary, because that's kind of how I did my show. And that's most of the art that I've done have done mostly by myself. Like most of the photos that I love about of me are the ones I take of myself more than, I mean, I have modeled for many, many great painting and drawing people and photographers. So I don't paint or draw myself. Well, I have done a couple, but they're very cartoony, but I don't paint and draw realistically. I model for other people who paint and draw realistically, but I do take photos of myself, and some of my self-portraits are the most powerful photos ever taken of me, because I'm the most comfortable when I photograph myself. When I try to model for another person, I'm more shy and afraid to really look great, or I'm just not as confident. I'm not as, and that's frustrating to me because I wish that I could just relax and be really confident around other people. So that's part of why I videotape myself and photograph myself, because I'm good at it. Like I'm comfortable doing it and I like doing it, and it's a relief because I find many things challenging and not comfortable. So I'm comfortable videotaping myself and photographing myself and doing all the different kinds of art that I do. And I love working with animals, and I love being out in nature, and I love modeling for other people. But I have to just sort of model and then not worry about what it looks like. I love seeing the different paintings and drawings of me, but yeah. So there. Okay, so there it is. So that's where I'm at right now with the documentary. I want to do the documentary. So anybody who's listening, thanks for listening. This is Shannon Nicole Kringen, Goddess Kring in Seattle, talking about the documentary film, trying to stay on topic here. I go off on tangents, obviously. So there's two things. There's the San Diego trip. Hopefully I'll do that. Maybe for my birthday, that would be good in October, because like I was born in San Diego in October. So perhaps go to San Diego to film the music video for Only Child because I talk about San Diego in that song and poem, and also going to San Diego, literally flying there to interview myself or have somebody else interview me and then basically interview myself, but have somebody help me film it. Be my co-director kind of a thing. I'm the director. I'm the writer, producer, actor, and director, but somebody, I do need some people to help me do a few things. So there it is. But yeah, I partly am doing this too because there's over the years, there was a short film made partly about me called Typecast Dragon. And I think that was 2010. That was what was that, or 2012? That was like, 10 or 15 or 13 years ago or something. Typecast Dragon. And it got into the Seattle Film Festival as shorts for shorts. And I was happy to be part of that. That was one of those 48-hour movie making things. And they did that. And then there was two other people, a man and a woman separately, that over the years thought about doing a documentary about my show or me, Goddess Kring, Shannon Kringen. Um, and then they both changed their mind. The guy and the woman separately, they both changed their mind. And I don't know if they were just busy with other things or they just decided not to work with me. I don't know. They were polite about it, but they both said no. And I was kind of sad and a little disappointed. Um, and then over the years, I've thought, I wish somebody else would offer to make a documentary about me. And nobody really has on a serious level. I actually had a meeting with somebody about a month ago, a production company that was maybe looking to do a documentary about public access TV in some way. And they talked to me, but then I never heard back from them. So I think that my ideas just didn't spark with their ideas, maybe. I don't know. I didn't hear back from them. So I guess they're not interested in working with me. So that's a no. So I feel like if there's going to be a documentary made about Goddess Kring, it's probably going to have to be made by me. So that's why I thought, you know what? I think I will make a documentary. But I want to tell a story that has value to other people. Like I want to inspire, I want to entertain people and inspire people. I don't want it to just be some look at me, narcissistic thing. I want it to be some kind of like an inspiring story where me, the character, the main character, has an arc, has like something she's looking for, and she either fails to get it or she does get it. I mean, I know that I'm healing and growing and learning. I don't want it to be a tragedy, but I don't mind if there's some, like one thing I love about the Val Kilmer documentary is that the movie is about, like, he starts off with the movie by saying that he's had a magical life, and it's true. Val Kilmer did have a magical life. He went to Juilliard. He was one of the youngest people accepted. And so this is the reason why I'm telling you this is because I'm going to do my documentary, which is totally different than the Val Kilmer, but I'm inspired on a certain level because Val Kilmer mixed in his acting self and the roles that he played and the challenges of being an actor with his real self. And there's scenes in the film that blur the boundary between him, the actor, and him, the real guy who was married and then divorced and had two kids and had throat and got throat cancer his and he had financial challenges with his family and different, he had some roller coasters that he went on. So the movie is an honest, in my opinion, an honest story of the tragedy of his life and the comedy. I mean, a lot of really sad things happened and a lot of really amazing things happened in his life. And his life was a tragedy and a comedy and a drama. It was all of it. So if I do the Goddess Kring documentary, I would like it to be a comedy, a drama, a tragedy, all of it. Like, my life has been so far pretty interesting and it's been a roller coaster. I am some ways I'm very blessed, and some ways my life is very difficult and uncomfortable. And it's both at the same time. And if I write a memoir book about my life, it'll be called Checkerboard Childhood, I think, because for two reasons. Because I think that my mom and dad divorced when I was 4, and that was difficult going back and forth between mom and dad, mom and dad. And my mom, I knew like what my mom didn't like about my dad, and I knew what my dad didn't like about my mom. So it was really, that was dark. Like I knew too much about the adult problems in my life. So it was like my childhood, it was checkerboard because it was mom, dad, back and forth, back and forth. That was difficult. And also, my mom and dad are both really kind, sensitive, intelligent people on one level. And on another level, I felt like their dark side was they didn't give me enough attention and they were both distracted and they both had certain problems. And in the movie, or in my book, I'm not writing a book to like make my parents feel bad. I just want to be honest about the challenge. Part of why I didn't have kids or ever get married, maybe is partly because I'm autistic, but also because I was very wounded by my childhood, I think. And both my parents were wounded by their childhoods. And so my parents are both highly sensitive people. So the checkerboard goes two directions. It's the child of divorce going back and forth between the mom and the dad, which is difficult for any kid, even if the parents, are getting along. Still, it's, an adjustment to stay with the mom at her house, stay with the dad at his house. I mean, it's very challenging going back and forth. And then my mom and dad each are partly really nice people and partly they each have a dark side. Let's just say that they each have a different kind of dark side that I did not get my needs met in a certain way, and I'm still trying to figure out how to love, heal, grow, nurture myself, be my own inner parent to my inner child, just to heal and grow and self-actualize and be the most um, whole, authentic self that I can be. To feel that I'm a whole being. I'm a whole, my heart and soul and mind and body is all like the Jungian psychological, what is it, self-actualization. I think that's what I'm seeking. So to really learn how to validate myself so I don't need other people to validate me. And I think that's one of my goals. And so maybe the movie okay, so I have several things going on. I'm making music and music videos and poetry. I want to write a memoir book and I want to do a documentary film. So those are all of my big, juicy projects. So that's it for now. I'll see you later. I'm doing a bunch of art car events. Just look at my social media if you want to find out. Opal Moonstone, my art car, and me will be at different events near Seattle. And yeah, bye for now. Thanks for listening. Bye.